and he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. Signifies that he was carried in a spiritual state to those with whom all things of the church were devastated. By a wilderness is signified a church in which there is no longer any truth, and thus where all the things of it are devastated. And by being in the spirit is signified to be in a spiritual state from the divine influx, as shown above. Hence, by he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness is signified to be carried in a spiritual state to those with whom all things of the church were devastated. And I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, full of names of blasphemy, signifies that religious persuasion founded upon the word prophet. By the woman is signified the Roman Catholic or Babylonian religious persuasion, for it follows upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, Mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. That by a woman is signified the church from the affection of truth. Here the Roman Catholic religious persuasion, which is in an opposite affection. By the scarlet beast is signified the word, as will be seen presently, and by full of names of blasphemy is signified that it was totally profaned. For by blasphemy is signified the denial of the Lord's divine in his human, and the adulteration of the word. Thus profanation, adulteration. Yeah, it's like from adultery, but the meaning of this is like profanation, and the adulteration of the word, thus profanation. For he who does not acknowledge the Lord's divine in his human and falsifies the word, though not intentionally, intentionally, indeed profanes, but lightly. They who ascribe to themselves all the power of the Lord's divine human, and therefore deny it, and then who apply all things of the word to acquiring to themselves dominion over the holy things of the church in heaven, and for that reason adulterate the word. These profane grievously. From these things it may appear that by I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, full of names of blasphemy, is signified that religious persuasion founded upon the word profaned by them. By scarlet is signified the truth of the word from a celestial origin. That by the scarlet beast is signified the word, as to celestial divine truth, appears at first thought remote and strange, yea, absurd, because it is called the beast, but that by beast in the spiritual sense is signified natural affection, and that the expression is thus applied to the word, to the church, and to man may be seen above. That for 4 animals, one of which was a lion, another a calf, and the fourth an eagle, signify the word, and are also called beasts in Ezekiel. That a horse, which is also a beast, signifies the understanding of the word. That a lamb signifies the Lord. A sheep, the man of the church, and the flock, the church itself, is known. These are quoted, lest anyone should wonder that the scarlet beast signifies the word. And because the Roman Catholic religious persuasion rests its strength and dignity upon the word.
Dignity.
Dignity. Like pride. Virtue. And dignity upon the word. Therefore that woman appeared sitting upon a scarlet beast, as she had before appeared upon many waters. Verse 1. By which I signified the truth of the word, adulterated and profaned. Adulterated and profaned, as above, that by that beast is signified the word, appears manifestly from the things said of it in the following passages of this chapter, as the beast that thou sawest,
Seest.
like sawest, was and is not. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder on seeing the beast that was and is not and yet is. Revelation 17:8. The beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th king, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Revelation 17:11. The 10 horns are 10 kings, who shall give their power and authority to the beast. Revelation 17:12-13. God hath given it in their hearts to give the kingdom to the beast. Revelation 17:17. Such things can only be said of the word. Having 7 heads and 10 horns signifies intelligence from the word. At first holy, afterwards none, and at length insanity, and much power continually from the word. That the head signifies intelligence and wisdom when spoken of the Lord and of the word. And in the opposite sense, insanity and folly may be seen above. That 7 does not signify 7, but all, and is applied to holy things. That a horn signifies power, and that 10 horns signifies much power. That by seeing heads is signified intelligence, at first holy, and afterwards none, and at length insanity appears from verses 9 and 10 of this chapter, where the angel mentions the signification of 7 heads, as will be seen below. Hence it is plain that by the beast having 7 heads and 10 horns is signified intelligence from the word, at first holy, afterwards none, and at length insanity, and much power from the word continually. Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple, arrayed, maybe arrayed.
Arrayed.
Yeah, arrayed, like dress. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. It signifies celestial divine good and divine truth, which are the word with them. By purple is signified celestial divine good, and by scarlet is signified celestial divine truth, as will be seen presently. By being clothed with them is signified to have them about them, consequently with them. The reason why these principles are with them from the word is because by the scarlet beast upon which the woman sat is signified the word. That the divine good and truth of the word is about them as a garment, thus with them, is known, for they adore the word from without and not from within. They acknowledge it because it treats of the Lord and of his power over heaven and the church, which they have transferred to themselves, and it treats of the keys given to Peter, whose successors they say they are. And since upon this too they found their majesty, dignity, and authority, they of necessity acknowledge the holiness of the word. But yet the word to them is only like the garment of purple and scarlet and of gold, precious stones and pearls. Upon a harlot holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and uncleanness of Hodon. Since purple and scarlet are mentioned, and then gold, precious stones and pearls, and by purple and scarlet is signified celestial divine good and truth, and by gold and precious stones spiritual divine good and truth, both from the word. Therefore something shall be said concerning the celestial divine and the spiritual divine. There are two kingdoms into which the whole heaven of the Lord is distinguished, the celestial kingdom and the spiritual kingdom. The celestial kingdom consists of angels who are in love from the Lord, and the spiritual kingdom of angels who are in wisdom from the Lord. In both kingdoms there is good and truth. The good and truth with the angels of the celestial kingdom is signified by purple and scarlet, and the good and truth with the angels of the spiritual kingdom is signified by gold and precious stones. Both these goods and truths the angels have from the Lord, though the word. Wherefore there are two interior senses of the word, the celestial and the spiritual. This then is the reason why the woman sitting upon the scarlet beast appeared arrayed in purple and scarlet, and inwrought with gold and precious stones and pearls. The same which is signified by this woman is also signified by the rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen and indulged in delicacies every day splendidly, at whose gateway Lazarus was cast, desiring to be filled with the crumbs that fell from his table. Luke 16:19-21. By the rich man clothed in purple and fine linen, the Jews are meant who had the word, and by Lazarus are meant the Gentiles who had it not. Similar things are signified in the following passages. They that have eaten delicacies and they that have eaten delicacies are devastated in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet have embraced the dunghill. Lamentations 4:5. What is dunghill? Dunghill.
Dunghill.
It's like manure heap. Dunghill. It's like bullshit. Lamentations 4:5. Therefore thou wasted one that wilt thou do. Though thou clothest thyself in scarlet, though thou adornest thyself with an ornament of gold, in vain shalt thou make thyself beautiful. Jeremiah 4:30. Daughters of Israel weep over Saul, who clothed, how to pronounce?
Clothed.
Clothed, who clothed you in scarlet with delightful things, and who put an ornament of gold upon your apparel. 2 Samuel 1:24. Apparel.
Apparel.
Apparel, like garment. Apparel. Fine linen of needlework was that which thou spreadest forth. Hyacinth and purple were thy covering. Ezekiel 27:7. This is said of Tyre, by which the knowledges of truth and good from the word are signified. Since celestial good and truth are signified by purple and scarlet, therefore the garments of Aaron, as also the veils and curtains of the tabernacle, were woven of hyacinth, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. Exodus 26:4, 31, 36, 27, 16, 28, 6, and 15. The curtains also, Exodus 26:1, and the veil before the ark, Exodus 26:31. The covering for the door of the tent, Exodus 26:36, and the covering of the gate of the court, Exodus 27:16. The ephod, Exodus. How to pronounce?
Exodus.
Exodus 28:6. The belt, Exodus 28:8. The breastplate of judgment, Exodus 28:15. The skirts of the cloak of the ephod, Exodus 28:33. The cloth of scarlet over the bread of faces, Numbers 4:8. It is manifest from these passages that is signified by the purple and scarlet with which the woman that sat upon the scarlet beast appeared arrayed. In like manner in the following passages, where it is said, was the great city, which was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, inwrought with gold and precious stone and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches are devastated. Revelation 18:16, 17. Also that purple and scarlet gold, precious stone and pearls were among the merchandise of Babylon. See Revelation 18:12. And enwrought with gold and precious stone signifies spiritual divine good and divine truth, which are of the word with them. By gold is signified good, by precious stone is signified truth, both from the word. That spiritual good and truth are signified is because celestial good and truth are signified by purple and scarlet, and both are conjoined in the word on account of the marriage of good and truth therein. And the celestial good and truth, because they are of love, are in their essence good, and spiritual good and truth, because they are of wisdom, are in their essence truth. That celestial good and truth are of love, and that spiritual good and truth are of wisdom, may be seen above. What is meant besides by this woman's being thus arrayed and adorned may be seen in the preceding article. And pearls signifies the knowledges of good and truth, which are of the word with them. By pearls in the spiritual sense are signified the knowledges of good and truth, both celestial and spiritual, which are from the word, particularly from the sense of its letter. And because pearls signify those knowledges, they are therefore named after purple and scarlet, and after gold and precious stones. The same knowledges are signified by pearls in the following passages. The kingdom of the heavens is like unto a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one precious pearl, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Matthew 13:45-46. By this is signified knowledge concerning the Lord. On the 12 gates of the wall of the New Jerusalem were 12 pearls. Every one of the gates was one pearl. Revelation 21:21. The gates of the New Jerusalem signify introduction into the new church, and introduction is effected by the knowledges of good and truth from the word. Neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under swine like pigs. Yeah,
Swine.
swine, pigs. Come.
Scum.
Before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and rend you. What is rend?
Rend.
Rend, like tear. Split, rend you. Matthew 7:6. By swine are signified they who only love worldly riches and not spiritual riches, which are the knowledges of good and truth from the word. Because by Babylon is signified Babylon.
Hey
Babylon.
guys,
Hey, hello.
I hope I'm not interrupting. I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, hello. I'm reading the book. Yeah, you can see on the stream. But if you want to read it, you can, of course, in your turn. It's about spiritual meaning of the book of Revelation, chapter 17. The meaning of swine. This by swine are signified they who only love worldly riches and not spiritual riches, which are the knowledges of good and truth from the word. Because by Babylon is signified that religious persuasion by which all the knowledges of good and truth derived from the word were rejected, it is said of her. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over Babylon, for no one buyeth the merchandise of gold and silver, of precious stone, and of pearls. Revelation 18:11-12.
What are we talking about?
Every day's a good day when we all come around.
It's about spiritual meaning of the book of Revelation, chapter. This book is Apocalypse revealed by Emmanuel Swedenborg, chapter 17 of the book of Revelation in spiritual sense. You can see on the stream and you can understand better maybe what it means. Actually, it's about regeneration.
I mean, I'm very interested in what you're saying, but I'm not really good with it. So I have to admit, like, I have a bit problems understanding everything.
Because it is a heavenly language. Heavenly language. Do you know what is a heavenly language?
I
No?
do know a bit about it, but like I'm not very good with it.
The
Like,
reality
maybe
is...
everything you're saying right now, it makes kinda sense, but I'm also like, what are you talking about? You know?
Because it's about heavenly things. It's not about the earthly things. It's only about the heavenly things. Because it's a heavenly language, like language of wise people. It is about wisdom and intelligence. Because books of Swedenborg is a genius. He is a genius, and he has third highest IQ in history, and his IQ is 206. And it means that his books are very smart and wise. And if you are able to understand and comprehend his books, it means that your IQ is more than 100.
Okay.
Who even
And
is?
because,
Who even is this guy? Swedenborg.
sorry, your
Borg.
voice is not clear, maybe because of
Swedenborg.
your microphone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your mic kinda sucks.
Who is Emmanuel Swedenborg?
he is a genius. I mean, and he's
No, but who is
he's a scientist, and he's a Christian. And God gave him the doctrine named New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is a doctrine about spiritual meaning of the Bible, and this teaching can unite God's church, because God's church on the earth is divided by different teachings and doctrines, and that because there are a lot of denominations, but only spiritual meaning of God's words can unite God's church and can make us as one, and can make us Christians one.
Yeah, dude, this guy is
Yeah,
literally...
this is too theoretical. I
This,
think.
so it's just kind of heretical.
Yeah,
He believes
I
he
think
can
this is
complete
more philosophy,
absolute
to be
unity
honest. It's
with
not
the
really
essence.
about religion. It's more philosophy.
Yeah, even philosophically, right? How can this guy believe we can become united in God's essence?
Well,
Are you a
philosophers
Christian?
are a
Yeah.
joke these days. So.
It's about
brother.
Christian philosophy. Christian philosophy. A lot of Christians were philosophers, like maybe
Yeah.
German idealist philosophers.
I don't
And
know about that.
Yeah, a lot of philosophy came from Christianity.
Yeah, but it's
course,
not
Or
like
theists.
Christians are
Of course,
philosophers.
theists.
That's kind of weird.
Way more theistic philosophers than atheists. Like 1,000,000%. It's not even a debate.
What about Muslims?
Yeah, Muslims are theists.
What?
Exactly.
What?
I'm
Do you
just
know what
saying, dude. I mean,
do you know what a
Muslims aren't
theist? Do you know what a
atheists.
theist is?
They're quote unquote theists that believes a god.
You don't know.
That's what theism is, dude. To believe in existence of a god. I don't know what's so funny. It's literally what the definition of what a theist is.
This is the topic of this channel. I mean, this book, and we can read together and we can discuss this book.
Yeah,
But
we
if you
can, but should we?
if you like it, because I can leave this channel and go to the next channel if you want to chat,
No,
maybe.
no.
But this is this is a topic because it's about wisdom. And if you are familiar with the book of Revelation, have you read this book in the Bible? You can tell your opinion, and we can compare your opinion with the opinion of Emmanuel Swedenborg about book of Revelation. And you can say,
Thing is, man, like Swedish people. So I'm Norwegian myself, right? So I'm not being like racist or anything, but Swedish people, or generally Northern Europeans, except for like Germans and UK people, they don't know philosophy. Let's be honest. Like, like Northern Europe is not a philosophy. What?
He lived in England. Swedenborg lived in England,
Wow,
and
he lived in England. Wow.
Oh my gosh, dude.
He
That's
published
great.
his books in England.
That's great.
And actually,
so what?
a lot of great people were influenced by books of Swedenborg.
So what?
Oh my gosh, dude. Shut up, man.
It doesn't matter.
Dude,
Like
you're transgender.
And
It's
there
so
are five.
funny, like you think just publications make you great? No, what makes you great is actually having objectively good opinions about people and being nice.
An atheist talking about objectivity. What the
I'm
hell?
literally Christian.
What do you believe in?
I'm a Lutheran.
You're a Lutheran transgender?
You know, my priest
Okay,
in my
then.
church is literally a lesbian, so.
I mean, your role does say transgender.
Yeah, I am. So what?
So you're
How
a.
is that
Let me get it straight. You're a
right now,
practicing
you're just making
Christian
up shit
Lutheran
because you
that's
have nothing to say.
transgender.
So cringe.
Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and uncleanness of her whoredom signifies that religious persuasion from the holy things of the world profaned, and its goods and truths defiled by direful falsities. That by a cup of chalice or cup or chalice bowl. The same thing is signified as by wine, because it is what contains may be seen above, and by the wine of Babylon is signified that religious persuasion as to its direful falsities. By abominations are signified the profanations of what is holy, and by the uncleanness of whoredom are signified the defilements of the good and truth of the word. Defilements like
Defilements.
desecration, profanation, defilements of the good and truth of the word. Therefore, by having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and uncleanness of her whoredom, this signifies that religious persuasion consists of the holy things of the church, profaned and defiled, and of the good and truth of the word profaned by direful falsities. These things are similar to what the Lord said to the scribes and Pharisees. Woe unto you, hypocrites, for ye make yourselves like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful on the outside, but within are full of the bones of the dead and of all uncleanness. Matthew 23:27. Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon, Babylon, Babel, and Babylon,
Babylon,
and Babel. Mystery, Babylon, the great mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth, signifies the Roman Catholic religious persuasion as to the quality of its interiors, which were hidden, that from its origin, from the love of dominating, from self-love, over the holy things of the church and over heaven, thus over all things relating to the Lord and His word, it defiled and profaned the things which relate to the word, and thence to the church. By written upon her forehead is signified to be implanted in the love, for the forehead signifies the love. By mystery is signified what is concealed interiorly. By Babylon the Great is signified the Roman Catholic religious persuasion and all its qualities above. By whoredoms are signified the adulterations of the good and truth of the word, and also their defilements, and as above. By abominations are signified the profanations of the holy things of the church, as also just above. By the earth is signified the church, thence by mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth is signified their origin, now because these words were written on her forehead, and by written on the forehead is signified to be implanted in the love, and the love is the love of dominating from the love of self over all things of the church and over heaven, thus over all things of the Lord and His word. Therefore, this is signified. From these things it may be seen that by written upon her forehead, Mystery, Babylon, the great mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth, is signified the Roman Catholic religious persuasion as to its interior hidden quality, that from its origin, from the love of dominating, from self-love over the holy things of the church and over heaven, and thus over all things of the Lord and His word, it has defiled and profaned those things which are of the word, and thence of the church. That it is the love of dominating over all things of the church is known from the authority claimed over the souls of men and over all things relating to their worship. That it is over heaven is known from the authority they assume of losing and binding. Assume. Like suppose. Assume. They assume of losing and binding. Binding, and thus of opening and shutting. That it is over all things of the Lord is known from the vicarship, by which they attribute to themselves all that is His. That it is over all things of the Word is also known from their reserving to themselves alone the right of interpretation. It is called the love of dominating from the love of self, because there is also a love of dominion from the love of uses, which two loves are diametrically opposite to one another. For the love of dominating from the love of self is diabolical, for it regards itself only, and the word for the sake of self, but the love of dominion from the love of uses is celestial, for it regards the Lord, from whom all things which proceed are uses, and uses to him consist in doing good to the church, for the sake of salvation of souls. Wherefore this love abominates the love of dominating from the love of self. Verse 6, Revelation 17:6. And I saw a woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus, signifies that religious persuasion and saying from the adulterated and profaned divine truth and goodness of the Lord, of the word, and thence of the church. By the woman is signified that religious persuasion as above. By being drunken is signified being insane in spiritual things. By blood is signified the falsification, adulteration, and profanation of the word. By saints are signified they who by the word are in divine truth from the Lord, and abstractly the divine truth of the word, and thence of the church. By the witnesses of Jesus are signified abstractly the truth and goods from the Lord through the word in the church. Here the same profaned, because it says the blood of the martyrs, martyrs, martyrs,
Martyrs.
martyrs, martyrs. The blood of the martyrs, or witnesses of Jesus, and is spoken of Babylon, by which is also signified the profanation of the good and truth of the word and of the church. From these things it is evident that by saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus is signified that religious persuasion insane from the adulterated and profane divine truth and goods of the word of the Lord, of the word, and thence of the church. And when I saw her, I wondered with great wonder. Signifies astonishment. Astonishment like amazement. Mhm. Astonishment that religious persuasion is such interiorly, when nevertheless it appears otherwise exteriorly. To wonder with great wonder is to be greatly astonished. Seeing her signifies that the woman, that is the religious persuasion is such interiorly, when nevertheless it appears otherwise exteriorly. What's interiorly, internally, interiorly, and exteriorly, like externally, internally and externally, exteriorly. For he was astonished to see the woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, arrayed in purple and scarlet, inwrought with gold, precious stones, and pearls, and having a golden cup in her hand, which things were her outward appearance. And yet the cup was full of abominations and uncleanness of whoredom. And he saw written on her forehead, mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth, which are her internals. These things were said by John, because everyone, even at this day, cannot but be astonished at seeing that religious persuasion is so holy and splendid in externals, not knowing that it is so profane and abominable in internals.
Abominable.
Abominable. And abominable in internals. Verse 7. Revelation 17:7. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou wonder? Revelation 17:7. Let's see. Revelation 17:7. And the angel said to me, why are you astonished? Why astonished? And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou wonder? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. KJV, wherefore didst thou marvel? And version NACB. And the angel said to me, why do you wonder? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and the beast that carries her, which was the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And the 10, it signifies the disclosure of the signification of the things which precede and were seen.
Proceed.
Like predate.
Predate.
Predate, and were seen. This has no need of further explanation. Verse 8. The beast that thou sawest, like saw, the beast that thou sawest was and is not signifies the word with them acknowledged as holy, and yet in reality not acknowledged. That by the beast is signified the word may be seen above. By was and is not is signified that it was acknowledged to be holy, and yet in reality was not acknowledged. That the word was with them and also is, and yet is not, is known. It is acknowledged indeed to be holy because it treats of the Lord and of his authority over the church and over heaven, and of Peter and his keys. But yet it is not acknowledged, for it is not read, by the people, because they are withheld from reading it, and it is taken away from them, yea, even prohibited under various pretenses of the prohibited,
Prohibited.
like forbidden, prohibited, forbidden, various pretenses,
Pretenses.
like pretend, but you pretend, but you pretend to be humble like this, pretense. Under various pretenses of the monks being kept only in libraries and monasteries, libraries and monasteries,
monasteries,
where few read it, much less attend to anything true that is in it, but only to the dictates of the Pope, which they say are in like manner holy. Yea, when they speak from their hearts, they vituperate,
vituperate,
mhm, like blaspheme. They vituperate and blaspheme the word. From these things it may appear that by the beast which was and is not is signified the word acknowledged with them as holy, and yet in reality not acknowledged, and is about to come up out of the abyss and to go into perdition, signifies deliberation at different times in the papal consistory concerning consistory
consistory,
in the papal consistory concerning the reception and reading of the word by the laity and common people, but rejected. By the beast which was about to come up, the word is signified as above. By the beast out of which he was about to come up, nothing else can be signified but that religious persuasion, and especially where its throne is. Thus the papal consistory, it is an abyss, because that which is decreed there regards domination.
domination,
Domination of the holy things of the church and over heaven, and thus over all things of the Lord and his word. These they have for their end as the essentials, but the good of the church and the salvation of souls as formal things necessary as means to the end. By going away into perdition is signified to be rejected. It is known from ecclesiastical history that the reception and reading of the word by the laity and the common people has been several times deliberated there, but rejected.
deliberated,
Deliberated, like discuss, deliberated. There, but rejected. It's like about liberty. Deliberated. Liberation. It was also proposed by a pontiff who is now among the reformed and the blessed, who is spoken of in the continuation concerning the spiritual world, but it was not accepted, and this is especially known from the bull Unigenitus. Unigenitus. From the bull Unigenitus, and besides from the councils. If you see bull Unigenitus in the church, papal bull, Pope Clement, Like papal bull. Ingenitas is an apostolic constitution in the form of a papal bull promulgated by Pope Clement. It's like this book. Bull Unigenitas, and besides from the councils. And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Seeing the beast which was and is not, but yet is, signified the amazement of those who are of that religion, all who from its establishment have aspired to dominating over heaven and earth. Maybe domination, for domination, how to pronounce. Domination.
Domination.
Domination. Domination. Have aspired to domination over heaven and earth, that the word, although thus rejected, still is. By wondering is signified to be amazed. By them that dwell upon the earth are signified those who are of the church. Here those who are of that religious persuasion as above, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, signifies those who do not believe in the Lord, and are not in doctrine from the word, all since the establishment of the church. Here, since the establishment of this religious persuasion, and these are no others than they who aspire to domination over heaven and over the earth. By the beast which was and is not, but yet is signified that the word so rejected still is. It is manifest from this, that by they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, seeing the beast which was and is not, but it is signified the amazement of those who are of that religious persuasion, all who since its establishment have aspired at domination over heaven and earth, that the word, though it has been thus rejected, still is. For all who aspire at domination over the holy things of the church and over heaven hate the word, because they hate the Lord, if not in the mouth, still in the heart. That it is so few known in the world, because they are then in the body, but it is made manifest after death, when everyone is in his spirit. Hence it is that they wonder that the word still is, though it has been so rejected, as was said above. The reason that the word still is because it is divine, and the Lord is in it. Hello, good to see you. Can you read next verse?
Yeah, I can't. Verse 9. Here is the man that hath wisdom, signifies that this is the interpretation and
In the
natural sense, but for those who are in the spiritual sense from the Lord. Here is the mind, signifies that this is the understanding and interpretation of those things that were seen, that has wisdom, signifies for those that are interiorly wise. That the interpretation is in the natural sense for those who are in the spiritual sense is because the interpretation was made by the angel in the natural sense and not in the spiritual. For he said that the seven heads of the beast were seven mountains, and likewise that there were seven kings. One of them is, and another is not yet come. Also that the beast is the eighth, and is of the seventh, besides more things which follow even to the end of the chapter. And these things cannot be understood except by those who are in the spiritual sense from the Lord. This is therefore signified by having wisdom. The reason that the interpretation was made by the angel and the natural sense and not in the spiritual is because the natural sense is the basis, the containment and the support of its spiritual and celestial sense. See the doctrine of the New Jerusalem concerning the sacred scripture 27 to 49. Therefore also as elsewhere in the word interpretations are given in the natural sense, and still they cannot be understood interiorly except by the
Containant. Containant like yeah, what is contain?
Containant.
Containant like container. Containant. Except by the spiritual
spiritual
sense.
sense, as may be seen in the prophets and also in the how to read this one.
Evangelists, like those who spread the word.
Evangelists.
Evangelists, like missionary, preacher.
Okay. Evangelist in many places. Still my turn.
Yeah, go on. You can read this verse
The seven
if you can.
answers where the woman seat upon them, verse 10, and there are seven kings, signifies the divine goods and divine truth of the word, upon which the Roman Catholic religious persuasion is founded, destroyed in time, and at the length prevent, since the word is signified by the scarlet beast, and therefore the goods of love and the truth of wisdom therein are signified by his hat. On this account, the quality of the word as to these two with those that are meant by Babylon is here described, the divine good of love thereby mountains, and the divine truth thereby kings. That the goods of love are signified by mountains may be seen, and that the truth of wisdom are signified by kings, and that by the head. When the Lord is spoken of, the divine love of his divine wisdom and divine wisdom of his divine love are signified, and that by 7 is signified all and complete, and that it is said of holy things, and that by the woman is signified the Roman Catholic religious persuasion. Hence now by the seven heads or seven mountains, where the women sit upon them, are signified by the divine goods and the divine truth of the word, upon which the Roman Catholic religious persuasion is founded. The reason is that the whole word is prevented and adulterated by that religious persuasion see above. It is said to have been profaned in time, since in the beginning the word was holy to them. But as they saw that they could dominate by the holy things of the church, they recede from the word, and acknowledge their own edicts, precepts, and statutes as of equal, but really of superior holiness, and at length they transferred all the Lord's authority to themselves, not leaving anything. It is from their first state, when they held the world holy, that Lucifer, by whom is meant Babel, was called son of the morning. But it is sin on account of their latter state that he was let down into hell. But more may be seen on this subject in the angelic wisdom concerning the divine providence. It may seem as if by the 7 mountains where the woman sit is meant Rome, because that is built upon 7 mountains, from which also it is named. But although Rome is meant, since the throne and tribunal of that religious persuasion is there, nevertheless by the 7 mountains, the goods of the word, and thence of the church, prevent are here signified. Number 7 adds nothing else but what is holy. Here what is prevent, as the same number does elsewhere, as where are mentioned. 7 spirits before the throne of God, 7 candlesticks in the midst of
What
which
is candlesticks? What is that? 7 candlesticks.
Candlesticks.
It's like candle, like lamps. 7 candlesticks in.
in the midst of which was the Son of Man. 7 stars, 7 lamps of fire before the throne, 7 seals, with which the book was sealed, 7 horns and 7 eyes of the Lamb, 7 angels with 7 trumpets, 7 thunders, 7 angels having 7 plagues and vials. In like manner here that the scarlet beast had 7 hats, and that the 7 hats were 7 mountains, and likewise were 7 kings. Still my turn?
Yeah, go on. You can finish this verse if you can.
5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he is come, he must remain a short time, signifies that all the divine truth of the word have been destroyed, except this one, that all authority in heaven and in earth was given to the Lord, except another, which has not yet come into question. And when it does, it will not remain, which is that the oh my god, I cannot read. Cannot read more.
Are you tired? Yeah. Okay. But your reading is very good.
Still, you remember?
Sorry, what?
Still, you remember
Yeah,
me?
I remember you. Yeah, yeah. We were reading together in other server.
Yeah.
But
Why you moved?
this.
Why you moved
Sorry, what?
here? Why you moved to this server?
Because this server, that server was like learners of English, but this server is like next level because there are a lot of English native speakers, and it's better to discuss this book with them because they understand better. Because in that server we can only read, but people don't understand the meaning of this book. But on this server, there are a lot of Christians and English native speakers, and they can understand this book better. That because it's more interesting to read here and to talk about this book
Okay.
like this, like the next level. And I am glad to see you here, and I
Yeah.
remember you. Yeah,
Yeah, me
it
too. I'm glad
it
to
was
see you.
it was good time to read together. Because actually, when I was on that server, I'm just was learning the reading of this book because this book has like heavenly lexicon, like figurative language. And when I learned this lexicon, I I should go to the next level. And actually,
Okay. Could you continue my reading?
do you want to continue?
No.
If no, okay.
Yeah.
If you're tired, I can continue. And when you finished here, yeah, and when it does, it will not remain, which is that the Lord's human is divine. By 5 is not signified 5, but all the rest, here all the rest of the divine truths of the word, which are signified by kings. For numbers in Revelation and in the word generally signify the quality of the things with which they are connected. They like certain adjectives. They like certain adjectives united with
Adjectives.
adjectives.
Adjectives. Adjectives.
Adjectives. They like certain adjectives united with substantives. What are these substantives?
Substantives.
Substantives. Noun. Substantives. 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 Adjectives. Adjective, substantive, noun. Substantive. Substantive, or like certain predicates adjoined to subjects. Subjects. Like, once again, you should remember adjectives. They're like certain adjectives united with substantives. Substantive. Substantive is a noun, or like certain predicates adjoins to subjects.
Predicates.
Predicates. Predicates. Or like certain predicates adjoined to subject, because every English sentence has a subject and predicate. Predicates adjoined to subjects, or like certain predicates adjoined to subject, and like certain adjectives united with substantives. Substantive. Adjective and substantive. Substantive. Oh, to memorize it.
Substantives.
Substantives. Once again, they like certain adjectives united with substantives, or like certain predicates adjoined to subjects, as may be seen from the numbers 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, 12, 144 explained above. Here, therefore, 5 signifies all the rest, because 7 signifies all the holy things of the word, and it follows that one is and that the other is to come, and thus that there are 2 out of them all which remained, from which it is manifest. Adjectives. Okay, once again, here therefore 5 signifies all the rest, because 7 signifies all the holy things of the word, and it follows that one is and that the other is to come, and thus that there are 2 out of them all which remained. From which it is manifest that by 5 have fallen, is signified that all the rest have been destroyed. They are said to fall because kings are spoken of who fall by the sword. By one is nothing else. Is signified by this divine truth that all power in heaven and on earth, like that all power in heaven and on earth was given to the Lord, according to the words of the Lord himself. Matthew 28:18, John 13:3, 17:2-3, 10. As may be seen above, that this one has not been destroyed is because otherwise they could not claim to themselves dominion over all things of the church and the word and over heaven. But the other who is not yet come, and when he cometh must remain but a short time, is signified the divine truth which has not yet come in question, and when it does, will not remain with them, which is that the Lord's human is divine. It is said that it must remain but a short time, because this is according to the divine providence spoken of above. That it is a divine truth that the Lord's human is divine may be seen in the doctrine of the New Jerusalem concerning the Lord from the beginning to end. But the reason that it is has not yet come in question is because after they had transferred to themselves all the Lord's power, they could not acknowledge the Lord's human as divine, because it would then be said by the laity and the common people that they had transferred divine power to themselves, and thus that the pontiff himself was God. Pontiff, it's like a name of Pope.
Pontiff.
Pontiff, Pope. The pontiff himself was God, and his mysteries and his ministers were gods. But that this will yet come in question may be evident from the fact that it is here foretold in Revelation that they have seen this other truth, which is that the Lord's human is divine, though as with closed eyes is manifest from these things with them, that they say in the Eucharist there is not only the body and blood of the Lord, but also his soul and divinity. Thus, that there is omnipresence as well of his human as of his divine. And the human cannot be omnipresent unless it is divine. Also that they say that Christ as to his body and blood, and at the same time as to his soul and divinity, and at the same time as to his soul and divinity is in them, and they are in him by the Eucharist. And this is said of his human, which cannot be said, because it is not possible unless his human is divine. Besides these things, they also say that the saints will reign with Christ, and that Christ is to be adored, and that the saints are to be invoked and venerated. Also that Christ is the true light, and that in him they live and have merit, and other similar things which involve the divinity of his human. These things are from the Council of the Trent and from its bull. Thus, as was said, they may see the truth, but as if with closed eyes. Verse 11. And the beast which was and is not is himself the eighth, and is of the seven, and he goeth into perdition,
Perdition.
like damnation, doom, perdition. Signifies that the word, as explained above, is the divine good itself, and that it is the divine truth, and that it is taken away from the laity and the common people, lest the profanations and adulterations made in it by their leaders should appear, and they should on that account recede. Recede.
Recede.
Mhm. Like retreat. By the beast which was and is not is signified the word as before. Verse 8. By his being himself the eighth, here the eighth mountain is signified that it is the divine good itself. For by the 7 mountains the divine goods of the word are signified. Hence by the beast himself is the eighth mountain is signified that it is the divine goods itself. God is also signified by the eighth, and as all the goods of the word among them were profaned, he himself is not said to be of the 7 mountains, as he is just said to be of the 7 kings, by whom the divine truths of the word are signified, not all of which were adulterated. From these few things the arcanum may be seen, which lies hidden in these words. By his going into perdition is signified that it is rejected as above. But because the word is not so rejected, but that it is acknowledged as holy, but is taken away from the laity and the common people, lest the profanations of good and the adulterations of truth made in it by their leaders should appear, and the laity should on that account withdraw. Therefore this, because it is the cause itself, is signified by going into perdition. That the word is the divine good itself, and the divine truth is because there is in each and everything of it the marriage of the Lord and the church, and thence the marriage of good and truth. Also because there is in everything of it a celestial sense and a spiritual sense, and in the celestial sense it is the divine good, and in the spiritual sense it is the divine truth, and these are in the word, because the Lord is the word, which things are all demonstrated in the doctrine of the New Jerusalem concerning the sacred scripture, published at Amsterdam. Verse 12. And the 10 horns and 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom signifies the word as to power from the divine truth, which those who are in the kingdom of France and are not so much under the yoke of the papal dominion, with whom, however, there has not yet been formed a church, thus separated from the Roman Catholic religious persuasion. That these things are said of those who are in the kingdom of France may be evident from the series of things in the spiritual sense, for it now treats of the reception of the word by those who are in the Christian world. The reception of the word and the state of the church thence with the Roman Catholics, verses 9-11, the reception of the word and the state of the church thence with those who are attached to that religious persuasion only as to externals, who are especially in the kingdom of France, verses 12-14. The rest, who indeed profess that religion but still dissent in various things, are treated of in verse 15, and the Protestants or Reformed, who have openly receded from that religion, verses 16-17. But it can by no means be known that all these are here treated of unless it is known that the word is meant by the scarlet beast, and that the church is according to the reception of the word. And that by the scarlet beast is meant the word may be seen above. And that the church is a church from the word, and according to its understanding see the doctrine of the New Jerusalem concerning the sacred scripture. By horns here, the horns of the beast, the power of the word is signified. And by 10 horns, much power, here divine power, because it is that of the Lord through the word. That horns signify power, and 10 horns, much power, may be seen above. That by kings are signified those who are in divine truth from the word, and abstractly the divine truth therein. And that by 10 is not meant 10, but many and many things. By kingdom is signified the church from the word, because by kings are signified those who are in the divine truth from the word, and abstractly the divine truth is therein. Hence, by that had not yet received a kingdom is signified with whom there is not yet formed a church, thus separated from the Roman Catholic religious persuasion. It may be seen from this that by the 10 horns are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom is signified the word as to power from divine truth, with those who are in the kingdom of France and in some other places. Also those who are called Jansenists.
Jansenists.
And are not much unto the yoke of the papal dominion, with whom, however, there is not yet formed a church, thus separated from the Roman Catholic religious persuasion. The church with those in the kingdom of France is said not yet to be separated from the Roman Catholic religious persuasion, because it coheres with it in externals, but not so much in internals. The externals are formalities. Mhm. The externals are formalities, and the internals are essentials. That they still adhere to it. Adhere like stick. That they still adhere to it because there are so many monasteries there, and because the priesthood there is under the authority of the pontiff, and these in all formalities are governed according to the papal edicts and statutes, and hence are still very much in the essentials of that religious persuasion, on which account the church there is not yet separated. This is what is signified by they have not yet received a kingdom, but they receive authority as kings 1 hour with the beast, signifies that the word has power with them, and they by the word as if they were in its divine truth. By receiving authority with the beast is signified to have power together with the word, and thus the word has power with them, and they by means of the word. By receiving authority is signified to be strong, and by the beast the word is signified by a skin, is signified as if they were in divine truth from the word. That by kings are signified those who are in divine truth from the word, and abstractly the divine truth therein. By 1 hour is signified for some time, and also in some degree. From these things it is manifest that by their receiving power as kings 1 hour with the beast is signified that the word has power with them, and they through the word as if they were in its divine truth. These things are said because they acknowledge that the word is divinely inspired. Divinely inspired.
Divinely.
And hence that the church is a church from the word. But still they do not as yet draw divine truth from it, except these general ones, that God alone is to be worshipped, and not any man like God, and that the authority given to Peter is not in itself divine, and yet that it is divine to open and shut heaven, which is not in any man's own power. These things they confirm themselves from the word, but before others who do not hear the word, they do it from rationality, which is given by continual influx out of heaven to everyone who wishes to be in truth, that they do not progress further and draw the doctrinals of faith and light from the word, is of the Lord's divine providence, because they still adhere in externals or in formalities to the Roman Catholic religious persuasion, lest truth and falsity should be mixed together, and thence interior strife should arise, which is like fermentation that produces disturbance. That's all.